All right, my name's Brian Dalpiaz. I'm a math instructor here. I've been teaching math at Spoon now for 22 years. I'm going to be doing the presentation today for college theme, which is, for this year, when am I ever going to use this? Recognizing the value of a liberal arts education. So first of all, I wanted to go over just what is a liberal arts education. A lot of people are not really familiar with exactly what it is. They have kind of a basic idea. A good definition I found was from the Association of American Colleges and Universities, and I think it really gets at what a liberal arts education means today. It says that a liberal arts education is an approach to learning that empowers individuals and prepares them to deal with complexity, diversity, and change. It provides students with broad knowledge of the wider world as well as an in-depth study in a specific area of interest. Part of why you need to take all these basic curriculum courses to fill your gen ed requirements that a lot of people don't really appreciate having to sit through. A lot of you who've had to sit through those can relate to Jake's attitude from 2.5 Men.
Trust me, you'll feel better getting this done tonight. Then we'll have the whole weekend to have fun.
Yeah, but what if we don't have fun? All this studying will be for nothing.
That's just a risk we'll have to take. Now, what year did Magellan circumnavigate the globe?
It's not going to be on the test.
Maybe not, but it wouldn't hurt for you to know it anyway.
Why would I want to know something I don't have to?
Because maybe you'll need to know it in the future.
Well, then that's when I'll learn it.
Why can't you just learn it now?
Because there's only so much space in my brain that if you put Magellan in there, I might forget my log combination.
So why do we need to learn this stuff? Why learn something that you don't need? What's the purpose? When are you ever going to use it? So I'll answer that question with another question. You've all seen images, probably something like this. I have a question. Why do these people do these things? When has a football player ever had to run through tires in a football game? When has Steph Curry ever had to play with 2 basketballs in a basketball game? Why do you need to yank a rope up and down like this? What's that doing for you? When do you have to do that in real life? What about a push-up? Why do they do these things? Nobody? Why do they do these things? Develop their skills, right? They're developing their physical skills, their strength, their stamina, to improve their health, to improve their performance at their sport. So what's the purpose of a well-rounded education? Of a general education, the liberal arts education? It's to develop your skills, knowledge, and understanding. These are the tools needed to enhance your ability to navigate through life. Thinking skills, reasoning, problem solving, analysis, understanding, communicating skills, listening, explaining, collaborating, debating, empathizing, understanding. What will you be doing 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, or 30 years from now? What's the world even going to be like? I mean, if I think back 25 years ago when I finished my bachelor's degree, we were just starting to learn about this thing called the internet. I mean, look at how far we've come in 25 years. So it's hard to say what the world's even going to be like then and what skills you are going to need along the way. What if you lose your job and have to learn a new one? What if your house burns down? What if someone you depend on leaves or dies? How are you going to deal with that? What if you win the lottery? I had to throw a good one in there. What are you going to do with all that money? What if you have to make an important life or death decision along the way? Life is full of unexpected events, and the more you know and understand, the better prepared you'll be to deal with unexpected setbacks and challenges. A personal example would be my wife and I. One of our setbacks and challenges was our 3-month-old son, not him himself, but the stuff he had to when he was 3 months old. So shortly after this picture was taken, in fact, it might have been the very next day, he was diagnosed with congenital glaucoma. And that means that the eye pressures are really high and it's affecting his vision, and basically you go blind with it unless something is done quickly and successfully. And so at the age of 3 months, he had his first eye surgery. His eye pressures were like, they're supposed to be 6 to 8 on the reading. His eye pressures were 48. So it's a lot of pressure on the eye. It expanded his eyeballs a little bit, and even to this day, he still has some stretch marks on his eyeballs from that. But he had his first surgery when he was 3 months old. He had his second surgery when he was 6 months old on his eyes. And Fortunately for us and for him, they were successful. The first one got the pressures down into the 20s. The second one got them down to where they needed to be. And now he's a healthy, well, he's got a cough right now. He's a healthy 15-year-old boy, learning to drive, playing basketball. And we were fortunate enough to identify a problem and do what was necessary to get it fixed. We encountered a problem unlike anything we'd ever seen before. What do we do? How do we approach this? This wasn't on this wasn't in the notes, you know. It was nothing like that. It wasn't in the brochure of becoming a parent. So we had to use our problem-solving ability, our problem-solving skills that we had gained, and know what questions to ask, know what we didn't know how to find out what we needed to do. And we were very successful, and it's very fortunate for all of us. And a liberal arts education is intended to help you see the big picture, to recognize the importance and significance of all fields, and to understand how you and your area of interest fit into the big scheme of things. And who knows, taking these other classes, you might discover other areas that interest you as well. A well-rounded education enhances our ability to see the full picture and to see reality from different perspectives. Without it, it's like having tunnel vision. You're only seeing part of the picture. For instance, what do you see when you look at that? At the very least, it's probably something inappropriate you're seeing, right? But when you see the full picture, does your perception change? It just happens to be a shadow, two people talking, right? And it looks like three people, but that's okay. Listen to the wise men.
Eyes can deceive you, don't trust them.
Your eyes, your perceptions, your preconceived notions, your opinions, ideas, they can all deceive you and can lead you to false conclusions. A narrow perspective or tunnel vision can certainly make things simpler. There are fewer variables to consider. Everything is simply black or white, good or bad. One opinion is right, one opinion is wrong, one religion is right, another religion is wrong. Labels are a good illustration of simple-minded thinking. Just call somebody a name or place a label on them to justify your position. So towards others, like, oh, he's a nerd, she's a good person, he's evil, she's a crook, he's a liberal hack, what an asshole. You know, just labels to put on other people. Or toward yourself, it's just the way I am, or I'm no good at that, or I'm the greatest of all time, or I'm not a math person, or I am a staple genius, or I am an asshole. You see it in like the Democratic debates. They drive me nuts. I can't watch them because people are just attacking each other all the time. You're a sexist. You're a racist. You're a billionaire. You know, stuff like that. It's just, you're a socialist. They're not really saying anything. They're just name calling, trying to put a label on them to justify just dismissing anything they have to say or their positions. Reality is not so simple. Recognizing that is important. That's another slide. What do you see here? You see a horribly disfigured face? But if you look at it from a different perspective and rotate it 90 degrees, can you see that it's really just a puppy taking a nap? You can see the head right here. There's the body. Again, a change in your perspective also changes your perception. And so the more angles you can look at an idea, the better understanding you have and the better view of reality you have. Another example, how many people think spiders are freaky, creepy, disgusting? But have you ever looked at a spider's face up close?
They're adorable.
Yeah, Kristen would think so. So here's an extreme zoomed up picture of a spider's face. Maybe. Preconceived notions are not always wrong. Sometimes you'll find out you were right. So how can you get the most out of your education so that you can know how to look at things, what questions to ask, so that it can serve you best in the long run? After all, you're paying for it. One way or another, you're paying for it. Even if mom and dad are paying for it, you're going to hear about it for the rest of your life. So you're paying for it. Well, it's like so many things. You get out of it what you put into it. It takes effort, commitment, and the right attitude. And to get the absolute most out of your education, focus on understanding. It's all about understanding. In math, I'll teach my students several concepts and methods and then challenge them to solve a new type of problem that uses those concepts and see if they can make those connections. If they have a good understanding, those students are typically successful. Those who don't have a good understanding, they struggle with it more. And that's fine. Struggling's not a bad thing. That's how you learn. I just hope then by the time they get through it, that they do have a better understanding after I've gone over it with them, try to help them think their way through the problems. You won't use or appreciate that which you do not understand. Three key things involved in any understanding is to think, learn, and apply what you have learned. And then just repeat the process with every new experience you have. Think about it, learn from it, apply it to new situations. And don't just think about the topic being studied. When you're in class and you're studying for history or psychology or physics or whatever, don't just think about that topic. Think about what you're doing as you're learning that topic. Learn from that. Don't just think about the specific subject there or the individual pieces, but be mindful of the way that you're thinking and how you're learning. What works and what doesn't work. How does your mind work? How can you apply this process elsewhere? To truly understand, one of the most important questions you can ask is one of the first questions you ever learned to ask as a kid. What question do kids like to ask? Why?
My son is 3 years old. It's an amazing time. It's like big head, little tiny body. It's an outrageous time when they ask you about everything. It's like,
Why is the sky blue?
well, because of the atmosphere.
Why is there atmosphere?
Well, because we need to breathe.
Why do we breathe?
What the fuck do you want to know? A year ago you were saying your own shit, now you're Carl Sagan. What is this? Who are you? Are you Buddha? Ask Mommy, she's omnipotent, she knows everything.
So to think, learn, and apply, you really need to know why. And that's an important question to ask about everything. Oh, I don't think I need to point out back there. To think, learn, and apply, you need to know why. It's true because it rhymes. That's the way it works. So question everything. The greatest minds in human history all had one thing in common. People like Galileo, Newton, Einstein. They had at least one thing in common, and that was that they challenged conventional wisdom. Why do we know that? Why do you think the way you do? Really question these things. Don't accept things at face value. Don't just take another person's word for it. Make sure it makes sense to you. Figure it out for yourself. Make sure you understand why. Question everything and everyone, even yourself. Use your education as an opportunity for self-reflection and discovery. Why do I do what I do? Why do I think the way I think? Why do I believe what I believe? What things interest me most? Might other areas also interest me? Why not study a variety of areas? Might I find out I have unforeseen interests and talents? Why not take a chance and try new things? What's out there that I don't even know about? And the answer is a lot. So there's a warning with this. The more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. But also, the more you will know, and then even more still you'll want to know, and that's the way it goes. And that's how we grow. It's true because it rhymes. And I wanted to end with a happy picture of Elliot there. So that's him through his first 10 years, 1 through 10. And now, like I said, he's 15 and 6'4". That's it. Thank you. If you have any questions or comments, there's time for lunch. All right, you summed it up. Well, thanks for coming.